Chicken, Peter, you're just a little chicken.
Are you calling chicken? Are you calling chicken? Are you calling chicken? Are you calling chicken?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Netflops podcast. My name is Andy Doherty. This is the podcast where we break down movies that are poorly rated on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes mostly. We are in the midst of Hallmark Christmas month for December. And by we, I mean me, Andy Doherty, and my co-host, Adam Janketic. Adam, how you doing, man?
Sad that we're only halfway over. Only 2 more Hallmark movies.
This one, we watched the 2015 movie called The Spirit of Christmas. Reading the IMDb storyline, Kate, a workaholic lawyer, has 3 weeks to get a haunted bed and breakfast appraised and sold. The uncooperative manager claims the spirit who lives there will not approve. With Kate's possible promotion resting on the accomplishing this task, she checks in and haggles the aforesaid Christmas spirit, who suspiciously seems awfully solid for a ghost. Genres were drama, mystery, romance, and the tags on this movie, which made me fucking roll laughing, was Christmas, bare-chested male, drinking, and brother-brother relationship. But Adam, do you have any problems with that storyline? Script.
The most notable thing is the last line you said of he seems rather solid for a ghost, and that made me so upset. Like, it was like, oh, we're gonna see the ghost. He's gonna do like weird ghost things up here, and he was just like there, like.
I mean, like, this movie started out, we were going, oh, this movie, like, we watched half this movie, well, not even half, like a quarter of this movie together.
Watched, half an hour, so a third. And we both were like, oh, this is watchable. Oh, I love their dynamic. And then the fucking ghost came in, and it just like, we both like, we're just like, oh no. Oh no.
But even then, it was like, because he comes in, he's just a solid man. Like, he just walks in the door, too. He's not, like, phasing through walls or anything. But then, like, Kate, who's the main woman in the movie, who's the lawyer, she just goes, like, why are you not walking through walls? Like, there was a level of, like, awareness that the movie had of being, like, we're not following traditional rules of ghosts. That was, like, so intriguing to me. And then it just disappears.
Yeah, that was the thing, because it was self-aware of, like, she was like, hey, why are you so standoffish? And then who is the other guy? Oh my god, what is it? Rafferty?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't fucking
innkeeper.
I'm gonna call him the innkeeper because I'm not calling him Rafferty.
Yeah, no, he's more identifiable as the innkeeper. So there was an innkeeper who knows that this ghost is there, and the ghost has chased away every single appraiser, but we don't really get, like, a sense of what he did, because what he does to Kate is that he shows up after the first night, and then he, like, picks her up and walks her out, and is just like, go home, and then walks back inside and locks the doors.
Yeah, but it wasn't explained what he did to the appraisers. Like, if he was just like, because he wasn't ghostly, he didn't have like ghost superpowers. The first time I was like, oh, the ghost of superpowers was when she like knocked into the fucking bookcase and the vase fell. I was like, oh, the ghost did that. And then like he's just this like hulking man. I have to look up his height. He's got to be like fucking 6.
He didn't do that. Wait, no. Kate smacked into it because she got scared by him because he was just standing behind her on that first night.
No, that's what I'm saying. I thought the ghost, that was the ghost, but it was not. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Andy, he's 6 foot. This man is as tall as me.
Wow. Did they have him on fucking, like, apple boxes the entire time? Like, what the fuck?
No, because you know how tall Kate was?
Oh, she's going to be, like, fucking 4'8". Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, he seemed taller than Rafferty, didn't he? He was pretty tall in this movie. I like, he was a presence in this movie.
Yeah. I don't fucking know.
I will give him that. So apparently the backstory of the ghost who is named Daniel. He was like what, like a 1940s bootlegger? When was no, it was 1920s, right? Because that was when Prohibition was around.
Prohibition, yes. Okay, all right, ready? So this is. Oh, I'm gonna just do some math and I'll get back to you. All right, go ahead. Fuck. Because I think it's so fucking funny that he lives like for 12 days of a year, and it's been 2015 movie, like 100 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what's weird about that?
So this man has lived divided 365. This man has lived 4 years.
Yeah,
in 100 years.
12-day increments over 100 years.
And it's not explained if it's like, oh, after midnight, he just like, boom, it's a year from now. Like that's how I think it is, at least, because they also explain it as a curse and not him being a ghost. But
and like Kate is just like, who's this lawyer from Boston, and they describe her like in the storyline. I described her as workaholic, which I don't think she was.
I think she was up until this point. She was in the beginning. She was very like had a good relationship with her boss and was like, "Oh yeah, you can trust me with this like very important thing." You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, the thing was, I think that the rationale was crazy because he's like, "Listen, you're my best worker. I can't give this to any other person, but your promotion hangs in the balance of you selling this house within 3 weeks."
Yeah, I forgot that's the plot of the movie, was selling the house. Because it gets so lost in the fucking ghost relationship.
Oh, dude, like when that last like 40 minutes, I was like, that storyline popped up and I was like, I hope this storyline lasts the rest of the movie, because this is a decent storyline that could honestly solve like 20 minutes. But if they make it longer, I won't mind, because it's not going to get too crazy at the end. And it was done within 3 scenes. And then they just went on to a next storyline.
Exactly. Fucking goddamn it, dude.
The first part of this movie was like, it was so well paced, and again, we were so hopeful through like the first 30 minutes. It was a little slow in the middle, but then the back like hour was awful.
Awful, dude. It felt like an eternity. Like I started watching this because we watched the first third yesterday, and I watched the last whatever hour today. I started like 8 o'clock. I started watching. I didn't get done. It's almost 10:30.
At night. It's 10:30 at night. Oh my god.
That
was a treacherous hour. I was checking time every 5 minutes. Like I was like, something would happen. Like this huge storyline would get its answer, and we get a little clue into like the mystery behind this movie, which we'll get into. But like, and then I checked time, and it was like 5 minutes past. I'm like, so what's next? They're just gonna throw something else at us, and they did.
Well, I was on my phone, like writing notes, pausing, going back. I was like, what was said? Also, I have a timestamp down of the funniest fucking thing.
Oh God, what is it?
Do you remember? So he's like reliving the like ex-wife, I guess. Like, and her brother like her brother was talking shit about him, and he was like, he will never learn. And then she goes, he will learn.
And then cries like into his shoulder. So the way that this movie rolls out is that they're trying to like Kate and Rafferty, I guess, kind of was in real time trying to get Daniel to like re-tap into his memories to figure out who killed him. Yeah,
it was so confusing because I'm just gonna talk about
this for so long.
No, because I'm trying. Ready? All right, ready? Here, I'm setting the scene here. It's so confusing because like he is very clearly like not a ghost because they say it's a curse. But he's like, I am seeing ghosts, and she's like, sees him looking at nothing. So I'm like, oh, that's a ghost now. But wait, how is it a ghost if he's a curse? Like, if he's cursed, like, how is it a ghost? You know what I mean? And it's just like, I'm like, I have to think about this. And then like his ex-wife is there, and it's like, how is she there if she cursed him? It makes no fucking sense.
Yeah. So there's more ghosts in real time in 2015 time when we're assuming like current time when it flashes to Kate being around. There's more ghosts in the house, and she even says like towards the end of the movie, and I was like, oh, maybe it's turning around again because it's being aware of itself. She goes, wait, so you've been here for all this time and you've never seen another ghost here? And he's like, yeah, no, can't, don't know what to tell you. Let's go into his dialogue because he was supposed to be from the 1920s, but they literally just kind of made him say like old timey ish words.
Yeah, he like put in buzzwords. And another thing that fucking pissed me off is he was at least trying. He's not a good actor, but he's trying. You know what I mean? And it kind of shows. But dude, the fucking ex-wife, not a accent on her. She just like is like talking like she's from fucking Tennessee, like not like.
Yeah, and so was the brother. Like I don't know. The brother's accent was so fucking wild in some of those flashbacks. I mean, like I think Kate was trying. Like you said, yeah, I think Daniel was really, really trying. I think Kate literally acted circles around him. And that her actress, her real name is Jen Lilly, 2 L's, Lilley, and she was actually on
Days of Our Lives, right?
Days of Our Lives for a long time, and she's like known as like a soap star, so it makes sense why she acted circles around him.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's like I said, the dynamic of her and her boss, like the first half an hour, then like the calls from her and the boss later on, I was like, oh, okay, it's still kind of there, but that first 30 minutes, no,
that was kind of dumb. Like she didn't pick up the phone from him, and he just calls up and he's like, "Get it appraised. What are you doing?"
Well, that's why I said it fell off, but it was still kind of like, oh yeah, we're like you're piggybacking off like you're good acting that you did like fucking what like 30 days ago, like.
Well, let's get into like what actually goes down in this movie. So, I don't know. Where the hell do you want to start?
Oh, all right. Can we? What happened in the first legitimate scene? Because I have in my notes, second scene, like the weirdest breakup scene ever.
Weirdest breakup scene.
Do you remember? They're at like the bar, and the boy is like, oh, like they're like it's over dessert, and the boy's like, oh, you know, like you're just not for me, and she's like, oh, what is it this time, this or that, and he was like, the third one.
I forgot that's the way this movie started.
Yeah,
I forgot the way. So Kate is sitting at dinner with her soon to be broken up boyfriend. They had wine. They were eating like creme brulee.
Yeah, it was dessert.
Like they had a full dinner, dessert, and we're drinking wine the whole time. And he's like, you know, you're just like a shrewd woman. Like you're really just such a workaholic. And she's like, oh, I know, I'm just the worst. Like you're like the 7th guy to tell me that. Like not ironically, so, like not sarcastically saying it at all. She's saying it with no fucking strain in her voice. Like I know I'm the worst. And she's like, I understand that you're gonna break up with me after dinner.
Yeah.
It made no sense.
But like literally, she was like, "Well, I mean, why would I care about putting you first when I make fucking 8 figures being a lawyer?" And they both were just like shrug, yeah, like all right, whatever. We're like,
and it was like, she insulted him in like the worst way ever. She was like, she said something along the lines of like, yeah, you know, you're just kind of like a really like shy person that's never gonna go after like someone like me. So you know, it's just not gonna work. And I was like, damn man, like, that was a cold line.
Yeah, and like she fucking put on her fucking acting, fucking what's it fucking acting, and then, whatever. Pants.
Or acting chops.
Acting chops. There we go. Right? That's an analogy. Or not an analogy. Fucking words are hard.
Freudian slip.
Yeah.
So and then it just like cuts to the scene of her working, and the boss tells her like, you know, you got to sell this house within 3 weeks, otherwise you don't get your promotion. Which I just like was like, okay, that was insane, just an insane proposition. And they just keep moving. She's also in Boston, and they describe the inn as like a countryside house, which I thought was hysterical.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like pushed back a little bit in old style, but I don't think it was really like shown to us that she was like going out to the country at all.
Yeah, and even I remember her boss saying like, "Oh, hey, just like they were like bullshitting me, like, hey, like we were actually working, we were skiing." And I was like, "Oh yeah, like that's like him setting the scene more than like the actual place setting."
Well, no, he says that when she gets back the first time to the offices, he says that to try and give her an excuse of why the house isn't sold. He was like, "You were skiing, right?" And she's like, "No, me and the ghosts are trying to sell the house."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Don't tell me that. Tell me you were skiing. Tell me you were on vacation." But yeah, and then it's just kind of like the next like good hour of this movie from that point when she gets to the inn is just her like falling in love with a ghost, which
for no reason. Like they have no reason to fucking like each other. You love fucking like really like diving in on that. So go ahead.
well, I had a problem when the whole thing is that she's coming in and she's going to be like the brash woman that's going to change him and everything, right? That's like the whole like trope that's going to happen, that she's like, oh, I'm not a woman that's going to be pushed over and you're a stern man who's afraid to show emotion. And then he just like quickly starts showing emotion. So I was like, okay, that was kind of weird. Then there was like that whole scene where the bar Molly, who's just like a townsperson who ends up falling for Rafferty, the innkeeper. She's like, yeah, my bar like bursted a water pipe. Can I do like, run my business out of your inn? And I was like,
yeah,
there's gotta be better places.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if it can be played off like she wanted to like be with the fucking innkeeper more, and she was like asking him to do that so they could like spend time together or whatever. But like, it also didn't seem like she brought inventory or like, I know she was like, oh, I'll bring my bartender, and then he was like, oh no, I'll tend the bar. It's my fucking inn.
And then he turned, and then Kate starts writing down a shopping list of all the alcohol she was going to need, and I was like, oh, okay. And then he's like a great bartender, which was fucking wild.
He was not a great bartender, and did you see he was pouring out of a mason jar. He was shaking drinks.
He was a bootlegger, Adam, which we didn't get into.
He was a rum runner.
He was a rum runner. That's right.
He was adamant that everyone called him a rum runner. Like
that's like calling a sex worker. Yeah, that's like calling a sex worker a prostitute. You can't do that anymore. That's the way he took it. He was very mad when she called him a bootlegger.
Speaking of, I wish they made it more like. Obviously, the accent that you could have worked on and been like, oh yeah, that guy's from the 20s. I wish like fucking one time like a woman's would like not like speak out of turn, but he would just be like, silence, wench, like make me bev, and like what, you know what I mean? Like, and I thought like that was gonna be a thing, and it never popped up.
Well, yeah, it kind of was when when Molly he was like, oh, that woman, she challenged my authority. I've never have that happen before, and like he was like all ready to go about it and stuff. But and then like when there was the phone call when he was playing chess with the innkeeper when Kate goes back to Boston to do her job, when they're sitting there, the girl Molly calls the innkeeper and he's like, your special device is ringing. That whole scene.
Yeah, again, this, and also he never sleeps or like rests or fucking anything. So he's like truly been alive for 4 years straight, and every year like technology advances, and he's been with like multiple innkeepers. Like he has to fucking know.
When we were watching this together, when we were both on the Discord for like the first quarter of this movie, I was like, there's no way he's not tripping the alarm, because it's not like, oh, he's a ghost and he's going through walls or whatever. He's like walking in the front door.
Yeah.
Like he's spawning, like video games spawning on the lawn and then walking in the front door every night.
Yeah. Like he, in the beginning, he like walked in from the outside. That's why like it didn't make fucking sense. Like you should like have stuck to one thing. Like he is a curse. Like it has like human form and blah, 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 blah. It like really wasn't explained. It's kind of weird, and it's worse off that they're like, oh, there also is ghosts, so like it doesn't make sense. They didn't stick to it.
But then it becomes a blessing, as we learn in the end.
Yeah.
If you want to go into about that. Oh wait, I was like, fuck this movie.
I have many words. Something that like I just can't. All right, I have to fucking blurt it out. The fucking cousin killing him, and him going like and finding for the first time, oh, I wasn't really fucking, I was actually murdered and you did it. He just found out, and then he was like, actually, I forgive you. I've thought about it for all this time and I forgive you. And I'm just sitting here mauling like, you just fucking found out. What do you mean?
Yeah, or have something where like the wife steps in, like the ghost of his former wife like steps in and like stops them, and then says like, oh, he was protecting his daughter, and he was like, she
Yeah.
meant everything. Like have those lines when they're on the ground like fighting each other, and it's Kate and the ex-wife like pulling them off of each other. By the way, Foley fucking like makes out with Kate, knowing that his ex-wife is in the house. And then, like, the ex-wife is just like, all right, I'm fine with it, and fucking walks off into oblivion.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I would say that, oh, she was also there for the amount of time, the 100 years. I'll just keep saying 100 years, even the movie, it's like, whatever, 95. Plus 1920s, I don't know, I'm fucking in the 20s. They might have said it, because I know he said we haven't had a Christmas tree in 95 years, actually.
Oh.
You remember that?
No, I do not.
Okay. No, remember she
I was not taking any track of that whatsoever.
Oh, okay. No, because again, that my fucking mind was on like I have to fucking calculate and find out how long he's been like actually fucking alive, chronologically.
Which I mean, like, it's just there was no like it's set up as a drama, but the drama is more on like his relationship with Kate than it is with like his former relationships.
But again, to get into like I don't know, like was his wife there the entire time? The entire fucking.
I think so.
So why? Yeah, because we see her pop up like once,
we
twice.
See her pop up.
Yeah. Also, like, it was never explained. Kate, right? Kate gets fucking haunted like 2-3 separate occasions.
Yeah, that was
the cousin.
The cousin.
But that's not for sure, right? That's like. A logical guess? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Because who else would want her? Like, the ex-wife wouldn't want her out of the house.
Right? Would she not want her out of the house?
Well, she would have appeared to Daniel before that. Like, and not just, like, fucking vanish the minute he turned a corner.
But then also, wouldn't the hauntings be... Because the cousin is a ghost. Would the cousin be the one haunting the fucking appraisers? And not Daniel?
Yeah, maybe he wants to keep the secret,
right?
Or like, maybe it is Daniel.
No, because it makes more sense that the cousin would scare away appraisers so that the building wouldn't get sold again.
Oh yeah, no, it is because the cousin. Remember, he says, "You're my anchor to this world."
Yeah,
because he's afraid of being judged for killing Daniel.
The cousin, yeah,
and that's why he's like, yeah, I'll never leave because you're gonna be stuck in this house forever because you're afraid of judgment. Which, I mean, in terms of like when we get into that whole like religion side of it, like he killed it for a just reason. I mean, he was already like rum running. He was already doing something illegal and like it was performing out a act of like a hitman. So yeah, you're gonna be judged for that.
Yeah, right.
So again, that leads back to how weird it is that there's zero reaction from Daniel when he finds out that his cousin murdered him.
Yeah, like it was like a hot second. He was like, clenching his fist and being like, "You killed me." I remember. Also, do you remember the first time, like you see the death scene and you just hear like a smack, and I'm like, did you just slap him? Like what?
That was a good. I thought that was a good like death scene. Like it was good enough to like leave the mystery there. I feel.
Yeah, because in the end they tied up nice to be like, oh, they're cousins. They're going to come home together to the same inn, so they had the same route. But like, why weren't they traveling together? Oh no, he came home 2 days early, so I guess that's the reason.
And then the cousin came up behind him and whacked him in the back of the head.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm confused about like what happens with the brother. Like, is the brother just gets away scot-free?
I was so confused by that because the brother clearly just wanted the girl, and then she married, and then
she married the cousin, or she married the brother?
Married the brother, which is fucked up. But again, it's the 20s, so like women didn't have rights.
Yeah, no. I'm just trying to think about that. Like, why did he not marry? Oh no, because the cousin was already married and had a kid.
Yeah.
Okay. No, because I'm thinking like, why didn't the cousin just marry her? Because if he felt so bad and so guilty about killing Daniel, then why wouldn't he be the one to marry the widow? Because and like they're all saying like, oh, the marriage was a cover. And like that we all learned that from Molly too, who was a townsperson. So the whole point of them trying to like kick people away from being the appraiser, and like like when the appraisers like show up, they're trying to see like who Daniel is and everything. There was like the whole thing where like Kate was like being like, oh yeah, this is one of the friends of the people who own this place, the Forsyth family or whatever, and he's like really protective over it or whatever, and they were like, we can't blow your cover. Remember that whole thing?
Yeah.
And it was like, because if we blow your cover that there's ghosts here, you're going to become an attraction and you'll never be alone.
Yeah.
But like everybody knew about the murders already.
A fucking stupid movie. Just like some things I'll get into and I'm fine. Dude, that made my brain.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff towards the end of this movie that, I mean, and we could get like really nitpicky with stuff where it's like that door wouldn't have opened that way in like certain scenes, which does happen. But like but like, in an effort of not getting too nitpicky, there was still some like super glaring things that were just wrong.
Just like apparent fucking things where I'm like on my phone taking notes and I have to like stop and like rewatch a scene to be like, is that actually what had just happened? Like
like you saw a ghost?
not even that. Just like I had to like listen to full dialogues because it was so fucking. I was like, I had to like make sure that's what I heard.
I mean, thank God this is the first like movie in like 3 movies that I was actually listening to the dialogue and understanding it. Not like it was crazy, and I had to do the same thing. I had to go back and like write down lines of what people were saying in order to like get what they were saying, because I was like, oh, that line's crazy, I'm gonna write it down, and it took me 3 tries to write it down the whole time.
Yeah, like I had to rewatch him ironing his shirt twice because I was like, what is the point of this scene?
Why was he ironing his shirt? He's a ghost.
Yeah.
And those clothes would have smelled so bad.
Yeah, but like he also like he changes it. Like I get his like vest or whatever and his like fucking Goobellini hat and then he's in like a cashmere sweater. I'm like, oh, he like doesn't fucking care. Like also his brother is his brother was in like the like most normal clothes ever, and that made me like mad.
In the 20s.
Yeah.
Every woman is in a dress.
Yeah. Dude, I'm like, right? Like, fucking. Didn't like The Great Gatsby come out fucking during this time? They couldn't be like, oh, that's Roaring 20s fucking apparel. Like, not even like to Google, like, or like go to a little library and research a movie. Oh, God forbid, Well,
it's Hallmark, and hey, listen, Andy, at least they cut the sets down this time.
It's not Hallmark. This is a Lifetime movie.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Did we get scammed?
Yes.
No, we got scammed.
We're watching this on like Hallmark Now, or whatever it's called, but it is a Lifetime movie, Andy.
We got fucking scammed. I'm gonna Google to see if Lifetime's gonna be the same as Hallmark.
I probably one bought out the other, or one owns the other rather, but. We might have broke Hallmark month on movie 2, but
I'm upset.
What are your findings now?
No. Yeah, no, they're 2 different companies. So Hallmark has just paid to have, or vice versa. So in some way, on the Hallmark channel is Lifetime movies.
Yep. Which
damn it,
I'm fine doing like Hallmark month because we're on the fucking Hallmark app. Like it's fucking clear as day a Hallmark movie. You can't change my mind.
Oh, I 1000% thought it was a Hallmark. Like exactly, I was like, oh, yeah. This is in par with everything else we've watched.
Yep.
All right. So how about the big quarrel between Kate and Daniel that happens is when she's talking to Molly. And Molly starts giving off Daniel's like entire family history, and he gets pissed and walks off. I was like, all right, I'm Team Daniel now.
Well, I thought it was weird how like that got resolved within 10 minutes. I don't know if you were like keeping count.
That was the storyline that I was like, I hope this goes for the rest of the movie because
Yeah.
it's good enough to do that, and I'm going to be pissed if it doesn't.
Like so. I'm trying to recall here out loud. So they're at the bar, they're talking, and she's like, "Oh, did you hear it? Like the whatever original owner, I forget what she calls him, like got murdered the day he was supposed to come home, and like the wife was pregnant, and like the child died, and then she died after. Then the brother sold the house. It was weird.
It was
how
like
it was all.
It was like the child was born, but they don't know if it was his kid or not because the timing was kind of weird. And I think he was like, I didn't even know she was pregnant. Like when he storms off and like Kate follows him and is like, what are you all huffed up about? He's like, I didn't know she was pregnant. I didn't know like my entire family's history. I didn't know she died in this house 4 days later.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, oh, she's a ghost. Yeah.
Who, Kate?
No, not Kate. Lily, the ex-wife.
Oh yeah.
Because she died in the house. I was like, oh, she's a ghost.
Yeah, she's a ghost, and then apparently the cousin is a ghost too.
Yes, but he's blessed.
They're just escape damnation. So he's like, you know what? I didn't die in the house per se, but I'll take refuge in it. This movie was so great. Like that's why I was like, oh man, we're gonna fly through this episode because there's just so much here, and we're halfway through the movie.
Like 5 of my notes are literally just talking about he's not a ghost, and that I was like, I guess I was like that mad yesterday. I was like, why isn't he a ghost?
Just very dumb. Very dumb.
No, because they could have just kept it like that, and I guess not to like waste money on ghost CGI, but then they waste money on ghost CGI anyway.
Yeah. And then like after that this is where the entire narrative comes up. You know that there's like that trope of like the I can change him girl.
Yeah.
This is where Kate turns into the I can change him girl, because after that, like, you know, they fight, she fights with Daniel, and Daniel says, get out, you're leaving tomorrow. And he's going to leave, and the innkeeper, like, Rafferty just fucking keeps her. He's like, don't give up on him. And I'm like, he's a ghost, he's dead. What do you mean, don't give up on him?
That also, I thought the way this movie, I thought it was going to end was like, it was going to be like what's it called when she comes back every year and she ages and he doesn't? That's called something, right?
Yeah, I think it's like a trope, and then like she dies on the house, and they could be together forever.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be like that thing, and I was about to like, oh, okay, like maybe we'll fucking do that. Maybe like because he's not a ghost, she'll get pregnant and have a kid. Like, yeah, I was like building this whole story up, and then like he just like gets reincarnated.
And during the aggressive dancing at the Christmas party. There was like that point. Did you see that point where it's just like all of a sudden slow motioned?
What are you talking
They were
about?
dancing like super fast, and then all of a sudden like a clock started ringing, and that's when he started seeing like. Remember, he sees
the ex-wife comes in. Oh,
he sees the ex-wife, and then he sees the cousin.
Yes,
and like while he's dancing, as all that's happening, time slows down, and then there's like a ding sound, and then it like goes back to normal, and I'm like, oh, he's a real life person now.
Yeah.
Because then you hear the voices going like, time has run out, which isn't explained. And like, he just becomes a real person.
And it makes no sense because they also, another thing I forgot to harp on was he like was eating food, and it was like a very blatant thing of like, oh, he doesn't need to, but he likes the feeling of eating food.
And I'm fine with that if that like with that explanation. There's no reason he should be ironing.
Yeah, and there's no reason he hasn't in like 4 full like awake years has he not read every single book in that house. And like there's like 5 times where he's like, oh, I gotta read this book, get away from me, leave my home.
And he's like not watching television, there's no TVs in the house.
Yeah, right. Like what if he's just like, oh yeah, I love fucking the telly, or you know, like whatever. I love listening to the radio because it was the 20s, they had radio, right?
Oh yeah, that would have been really good. That would that would have been good.
Because that would have been a nice little like, oh yeah, I every year I turn to the radio and it gets worse and worse, and that's like fun little like bit, and I could fucking right like, God,
it adds to like his contempt of why he doesn't wants to be alone. Yeah, like he gave in so quickly. Like I wrote that as a note of being like. Oh, so he's supposed to be pushing everyone away. He kind of like begrudgingly agrees to like Kate like help him and Rafferty help him like find out why he died so he can move on or whatever. And then he's just like, oh, there's gonna be you're challenging my skills as a bartender. Fine, bring everybody here. I'll bartend for them.
Dude, like literally in my notes, I just have, why would a ghost have principles like that?
Like, because he's a man,
What are you trying to prove?
He's a man. And then I thought he was gonna get with Molly, and then like there was like a setup there where Molly's brother, who like just plays an uncredited character known as Molly's brother, he comes up to Rafferty.
He was the sheriff, remember?
Oh yeah. Okay,
because remember
never mind.
The sheriff came in twice and was like, "Girl, you crazy?" And like it's like literally from Molly. Molly's like, oh, everyone in this town knows about this house through and through. Yeah. Why didn't her brother, the sheriff, be like, hey, like we get ghost calls all the time. It's probably fine. Like I don't have to look through it. And that's another thing. We were when we were watching, we were like, dude, this guy went up the stairs and down the stairs. Like, well, shucks, house is empty. Like, what do you want me to do? You remember that? Yeah,
I think it's because he wanted like people to feel safe because like so many people, he knows that people are just gonna leave, so he's like pointless. It's pointless doing a thorough check through because he probably does it so many times because all those like he was like, oh, we have 5 appraisers like came and left, like her boss was saying before Kate goes out to the house, like, and so I guess he just like he's been through this like 8 times where he just has to come, okay, everything's locked, all right, lock the doors behind me, set the alarm, and then they just like, oh shit, it's a ghost, so I'm gonna go even though it's not a ghost.
I'm gonna bounce something off you. So the like 5th appraiser, the only appraiser we see, when he comes in, when like Daniel calls him, he is like visibly scared of Daniel. And he's like, I gotta check the basement. So maybe Daniel did something or said something to him.
Right. No, I agree with you there. We didn't see it.
We didn't see it, right?
Unless it's Daniel being like, get out of this house, and then he goes down and is like, okay, well, like because like it seems like Rafferty like also did not want to deal with that at all until Kate got there. And he's like, yeah, you might want to not fucking stay here the night, just so you know, or go home. In fact, you could also go home. So I think Rafferty was also just like not good at his job and didn't give a shit about it whatsoever.
I'm also trying to recall. I know he's the innkeeper, but why? I guess because Daniel was there. But no. Oh, I'm remembering now. He keeps the inn open like 11 months out of the year, and then for Christmas he closes it, right? Is the whole shtick? Yeah,
because that's when Daniel shows up.
Yeah, okay.
And there's no other ghost sightings.
Yeah,
which as an like I think I watched a Hotel Hell episode with Gordon Ramsay where he went into hotels and like would scream at people like it was Hell's Kitchen. And he did one that like boasted that it was haunted. So why wouldn't you want to do that as like an innkeeper?
Well, I guess he had a relationship with Daniel, and he knew Daniel would fucking like hate that and like berate people and like not want to be like a show horse,
I guess, but there was a line in the beginning where he's like, "Wait," Kate goes, "Wait, so you two like know each other?" And Rafferty says like, "Yeah, we've talked. It's very rare and brief, though."
Yeah, but he knows enough to be like, oh, for this month, I'm just going to let Daniel fucking roam the house and read his books.
And I guess he was just going to be so adamant of getting people out of there.
Yeah, I guess.
That's when I really started turning in the middle of this movie against Kate, because then she has like that whole thing where she's like, I'm a self-sabotager, and now she cares that she's a self-sabotager. And in the beginning of the movie, when she was at the dinner, she didn't care about that. She was like, oh yeah, I'm terrible. Keep moving,
I just didn't like Daniel like through and through. I didn't care much for Kate, more or less.
But, like, I was like, at least I don't know. I just felt like Kate's character like stopped developing halfway through this movie.
100%, yeah.
Disappeared. Where she was like the spunky girl and did all this stuff, and then it was like, oh, we're just gonna make her the love interest, and like she took a back seat the rest of the movie.
Yeah, no, I completely understand your reasoning. And the only reason I'm not doing like, oh yeah, Daniel was like not in the right or whatever, the fucking better of the two, is I just fucking can't stand that his character after 100 years for like just gets resurrected at the end after a flashback. Like that just makes me fucking like irate and just like I can't like his character. You know what I mean? Like how is that possible? It's not like they didn't say, "Oh, the miracle of Christmas." That would be like, "Oh, it's the miracle of Christmas."
Or she kisses him at 12 o'clock or some bullshit like that. Like
and then,
he
like,
found his true love.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like that. It's a fucking. I know it's not a Hallmark movie, but it's a Lifetime movie. Have some fucking Christmas sparkles go down and be like, "Oh, why did I disappear? Am I real now? Listen to my heart. Is it like something like?"
Yeah, there was a slow motion moment in the dance, and I had to go back and watch it 3 times to make sure it wasn't just the movie fucking skipping over itself. It was like it literally the movie slows down when they're in the middle. They're like aggressively dancing. I don't know what the direction was from the like the production side of being like you got to dance like really fast and aggressively because that's how they did it in the 20s. And then like they're just like arm dancing and like barely moving their feet. And then like time slows down and he's dancing with Kate and you hear a ding and it's like we're out of time. And it was the ex-wife speaking from a disembodied voice and then they show up and that's when he was like, all right, I'm now what do you call it? Reincarnated.
That's just what I'm calling it. I don't know what the fuck it actually is.
Yeah, I don't know either because at the end she goes like, remember when he says like remember he makes out with Kate so hard that she falls asleep?
Yeah. Oh my god! Thank you for bringing that up. I had to rewatch that because I was like, what the fuck just happened? They were just like it wasn't even like a passionate kiss. It was just like a hard kiss, and then like he's just tucking her in after like 3 camera shots of them kissing. Yeah. Like, oh.
He sucked her life force out. That's how he came back to life.
Yeah, she's the ghost now.
But after that scene, he's like walking out with the ex-wife and she's just like, man, she like shrugs and just goes, hey, it's your choice, her or me. And like she walks off and like disappears.
Yeah,
like,
just
evaporates.
fucking like gone from the fucking universe.
I don't think he does anything. Like he just turns around and like goes back into the house. So I don't think he does anything to like resurrect himself there.
No, remember in the end he's like walking from like the snow path that he like took 100 years ago to the house and then they meet up and then kiss again. That's what I'm saying. He got resurrected from nothing and he just like is taking that same path he was taking, except it's 100 years later and his cousin didn't kill him.
But he disappeared. Remember there was that scene where he walks off earlier in the movie? He walks off the property line and he disappears.
Yeah.
And then the ex-wife walks off the property and evaporates. Why, when he walks off the property in the back of the other side of the house, why does he not evaporate? He just goes into the woods. Like, what happens in that time to where he can like reincarnate himself in the woods and walk in?
Because his murder cousin ghost isn't there?
No, he's still there. He's taking refuge, remember? Because he's afraid of damnation.
No, are you talking about the first time?
No, I'm talking about the end of the movie. But before they meet up with each other.
You don't remember? They fucking bro hug and the cousin evaporates?
Oh, okay.
So the second time he does that, because the first time it was the curse that he can't leave the grounds.
Right.
The second time.
But the second time, what happened?
That's what I'm saying. He goes
into the woods.
Into the woods, yeah, and then comes back out a real boy. That's what I'm saying.
I was getting major Pinocchio vibes.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The ending of this movie was dog shit, Andy.
The scene where he's running to Kate and they're both running in the snow and it's like, they're running in ankle deep snow. Yeah. So they're like falling over each other. I'm like, whoever wrote that scene in needs to be fired. That was the worst fucking like airport. Because it's like, the romantic comedy of like the airport, like goodbye, where the person changes their mind and like comes back. Like it's like that kind of scene.
Yeah.
And them tripping over themselves trying to run to each other.
And my favorite is they stop at such an awkward time because both of them are like, oh, I can take another step. Then I'll be like a little too close. And it's weird with the snow. Like, you can tell that they're both thinking that. They're like, oh, fuck, we kind of fucked this up, didn't we? Like,
and now we can't repat the snow or anything.
exactly, yeah,
so.
that's the whole thing. Like, oh, maybe if we move the camera back to like cover the snow prints, we could do it like 1 or 2 more times.
And then they just take a fucking full step towards each other and start making out.
Yeah. Right. They had to like hit like such a specific mark where they take 1/2 step and they meet perfectly. It probably was a whole ordeal.
Yeah, they fucked up that take and they couldn't redo it. That's what that was. And then the movie just kind of ends.
Like the credits just roll.
But all that we just said, the past like whatever we said over the past 5 minutes from them, I'm trying to think. There was the dance that happened in the last 20 minutes. The confrontation with the cousin that happened in the last 20 minutes. There was like 5 things that just happened in the last 20 minutes. And none of them made sense. None of them gave us explanations.
Yeah. What a fucking way to put a pin in it. Like, holy shit.
Even though the tropes that we thought were going to happen would have been like boring if those were the thing to happen, they would have made 10 times more sense as what actually happened at the end of this movie.
It just it felt like a snowball forming where it's like, oh, we're too deep now. Oh, it's the ghosts are gone. Oh, and then the wife leaves. Oh, and the kiss. Oh, the credits. Like, that felt like the last 5 minutes of the movie was just that.
And it was 1000%. We skipped over the fact that Kate has to go back to Boston in order to like do her job. So her boss calls her. She finally like picks up the phone. I think she rejected like 1 or 2 calls from her boss named Oliver, and who she thought was just gonna like give him shit for not appraising it. And she's like, "Listen, I know." And he's like, "No, you need to get back to work. A senator died, so it's all hands on deck here." And I was like, wow, what is that? Blah, blah, blah. So she goes back to Boston, right? And she's working in the firm, and she ends up getting like the deeds, or no, she got the birth certificate for the son to show Daniel later, which was kind of sentimental and cool.
Another thing, sorry to interrupt right there, but he goes, "Oh, I'm the father," and then puts it down. She goes, "No, read it again." Like, I was like, "Fucking, what is going on?"
Because she knows they knew that they named him Daniel.
But like, why would you not read the next line where it's like father, like Daniel F? What was his last name?
I don't. Forsythe.
Why would he not read the fucking next line? Why would he just like fucking read one line, put the paper down? Like,
he's from the 20s, man. I don't think he was that good at reading.
He was a rum runner. You had to fucking cook books, you know?
Like, rum runner.
I will forever fucking call it that.
Just the stain in his voice. No, I'm a rum runner. And that's the way he delivered all his lines, just like this.
Yeah,
it was like a weird. It was like a CPU.
Yeah, some of the lines hit, and then a lot of the times they did not.
And
where, like the voice and the accent lined up like perfectly for a couple lines, and that's it.
And he was supposed to be from the 20s.
Yeah.
So like, and he was like sophisticated 20s.
Which is, I think he had a degree. I think that was said, and then he like needed money. That's why he was rum running. It kind of got lost in my mind.
But what about the inn?
No, the inn was gifted. No, the inn was gifted to him after his parents died, and then his brother wanted the inn. Remember that whole thing?
Yeah, and he said I would have sold it if it weren't for my parents, you know, to keep their spirit alive, and also because Lily liked it about him, which we see in a scene in one of the flashbacks. She's like, you know why I chose you over your brothers? It's because you had this inn that shows you're responsible.
Oh, yeah.
But what I'm saying is that like if he was that good at running this inn, he could have been making money from that.
Yeah.
Although inns can be speakeasies, I guess.
Did we go into that? How instead of him rum running, he could have just fucking sold liquor out of his inn?
Yeah, but I think his brother and his cousin were too. Oh no, his cousins was in on him, but his like
Exactly.
brother and the other family member were too like, no, that's too risky.
But that's the whole point of his speakeasy. He could have like done it at night or some shit, and like sold liquor out of like the basement, or like on the DL, people would stay and buy liquor, something like that. I don't know. I'm trying to fucking.
I think the
explain
cousin
such
was too much of a wet blanket for that, because he was like that's illegal, and he's like, everybody's doing it, and he's like, that's
Yeah.
illegal.
Yeah.
I care more about your wife's problems than you do, and he's
Yeah.
like, shut the fuck up. I'm shutting down this line of questioning.
With my monotone voice.
With no delivery, no emotion behind my monotone voice. So going back to why she's in Boston. So Kate's doing her job in Boston, and it was like all hands on deck or whatever. Then he says the ghost. Then Daniel then calls using Rafferty's phone, calls an appraiser to get it done. And that gets back to the law firm, and he's like, good job, Kate. Oliver's like, good job, Kate. You got an appraiser there and everything. Now this is your top priority again. And he sent her back there.
Yeah, it felt weird. Like being like, no, didn't he say don't go back there? And then she did go back there? Or like, I need you back by Christmas. And she was like, oh, I want to stay for Christmas. That was it, right?
Was it? I thought that was the first time. Oh yeah, maybe that was it. I don't know. That dialogue was very strange.
It was strange because I didn't fully understand it. That was another thing I had to watch 3 times and I still didn't get it.
Because he said something like I really need you here, and he was like, you got to stay here for Christmas, and then she was like, stay here for Christmas. So I thought like, oh, she was gonna work a couple more days and then leave to go to the place, but no, she just goes straight to the inn.
Yeah, so it didn't. I guess it was meant to show that she cared about Daniel. Also, another thing I fucking hated was she was about to throw away her like her fucking lawyer license to see this ghost once a year for 12 days.
She's a self-sabotager, man. Who else is gonna love her? A dead man is loving you.
Yeah, and even she says like, "Oh, it's better than nothing. I've been getting a lot of nothing, if you know what I mean."
And Daniel at least was like, she, in my situation, really doesn't make sense for her. Let's be real.
Yeah, he was like super like, no, like maybe we'll see her from time to time, but this isn't it.
Like if I was alive, maybe.
Yeah, if the spirit of Christmas happens, but I think that's a Hallmark trademark, and we can't use that.
No, it's a Lifetime. It's actually exactly. Like Rafferty's just sitting there as they're playing chess. It's actually a Lifetime movie. Well, whatever the circumstances. Semantics. But yeah, and then like she gets a call from Oliver after that, and she says like, you don't work for me, or I don't work for you anymore. And he's like, come on. And then I think she like gives in. The end of this movie was so bad. I'll say it was so bad because I remember there was another call, and I remember watching it and listening to what was happening and going, I didn't get any of that.
Yeah.
That being said, I want to move on to a segment to kind of like set the scene of what the dialogue in this movie was like. Adam, you see the
message. Yeah.
The message in our Discord. So what I want to do is I pulled lines from this movie that it took me 6 go backs to get all this entire interaction down word for word, and I want us to act out the lines.
Sure. I love how you have written couldn't tell because mumble, and that's
in the middle.
That's so true, because my favorite line is fucking when the ex-wife just mumbles something and I have no idea what it is.
What at the when she's talking to the cousin on the front step?
No, talking to the brother on the front step.
I'm sorry, brother on the front step. Yeah,
the brother's like, "Oh, he never loves you. He told you to be home for Christmas," and then she goes, "He'll learn." And obviously, like, I watched it a couple times. Like he will learn or whatever she says, but like she says it so fucking weird and it's so funny.
And obviously the Hallmark subtitles definitely do not do any of these movies justice whatsoever. Because I'll tell you what that line was in the subtitles, and I don't think he was saying that name.
I feel like they have the real script is the closed captioning, and then like they ad lib fucking 90% of the movie. I think I said that.
The actors just do whatever you want.
Yeah, I think I said that during Fur Crazy, and that's literally how it feels again with the closed captioning, at least. You know, like that I'll hype on, because like if you can't fucking if you're deaf, like you can't fucking read the closed captioning and even get a hint of what this movie's about.
No, but in Fur Crazy and this movie, all the lines, like most of them, were just one sentence. It was like one sentence. Like period. Okay, next sentence. Yeah, like, and you're gonna get that from this quote too. So, do you want to be Molly or Daniel?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do Molly.
Okay. Start whenever.
Sure. Now that's a hanky panky.
Oh, I should set the scene. So Molly and Daniel. I should say where we are in the movie. Molly and Daniel are standing. It was after Molly challenged him to see how good of a bartender he is. And he's making drinks at the inn for Molly and a bunch of guests. Okay, Adam, go ahead.
Alrighty. Now that's a hanky panky.
It is indeed. Taught to me by Colleen herself the year I spent at the Savoy.
Ha ha ha! You're hilarious. Do you know Singapore slang? Slang?
Slang. Do you know the Singapore slang?
The Singapore slang. That's the fucking quote.
I guess that's a drink.
Oh, okay.
They were talking about drinks. That's what a hanky panky is too.
Okay.
All right, you want to restart the scene?
We'll cut all this. I was a little lost.
No, this is how the scene goes. You do not know that they're talking about drinks.
Exactly.
Like he's pouring drinks, and then Molly just goes, "Now that's a hanky panky." To start the dialogue.
Yes, I'm like getting full fucking memory now of this. Yeah, it's like they're like sitting fucking like
at like
right
the
next to each
bar
other at the bar
in the inn.
He's shaking drinks in a fucking mason jar. Yes, this is
yes,
and he's pouring it with the lid cover that's perfectly on it, and it's like pouring out everywhere.
Yeah.
It's
like tilted off a little bit, there's like a seam of where the drink's coming out.
And you could argue that it's like, oh yeah, the time and shit like that. No, like people drank like normally in the 20s. Like they didn't fill a fucking like cup up and shake it with their hand on it and then just like slide it on the table and fucking like drink up, kiddos. You know what I mean? Like what the fuck is that?
Oh man, it was so like, and it was like pink. It was like clear pink, and I'm like, there's no way they had alcohol like that back then.
Yeah. And then he like throws like he tries to squeeze out a lemon or an orange rind, and then nothing happens, and he just throws it in his drink.
And then storms off because he gets pissed off by what Kate's talking about with Molly.
He's like, "Oh, I had a kid and it died. Darn, let me storm out of here."
What's his problem?
Alrighty.
All right. Yep.
That's a hanky panky.
It is indeed. Taught to me by Colleen herself the year I spent at the Savoy.
Aha, you're hilarious. Do you know the Singapore sling?
Is that similar to the Straits sling?
Let's find out.
Scene cuts and actors don't move.
Oh, that feels like the fucking Odd Thomas, like where it was just like could not have been said and would have been better off if they didn't have this scene.
Yeah, that's why I said it's like 3 movies of like insane dialogue. Yeah, so the line said Colleen, but he mumbled it. He was like, by call herself and the year I spent away at the Savoy. Like, I think we almost read those lines better than they did, so.
Fucking, what's your name? God, I don't have it up. Kate didn't have it. Oh, Molly was talking.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Molly was not the greatest.
No, it was like a ha ha ha.
Yeah,
like it wasn't a genuine laugh.
Yeah. No, Molly was not doing her best there.
I mean, some of these quotes, these are like some of the best quotes we've had in a while. In the beginning, there was Kate talking to Rafferty when Daniel first shows up. She says, "I'm no expert on curses, but this one seems weird. He's a ghost except for 2 weeks. Why? Did he insult a witch?" Rafferty says, "There are no witches." Kate goes, "Oh, right, because that would be crazy."
I'll do one of my quotes now. They're talking bad on Daniel, and he goes, "I can still hear you," and moves
As
2
he's
chairs
eating.
away.
A mountain of food on his plate. And he moves to the other side of the
Yeah, like in the same room, 2 chairs over.
Kate says, "Times have changed since you were last in this world." Daniel goes, "People don't fall in love." Kate goes, "Some do. I haven't. Good night."
Also, two things. Him, when she was like, "Hey, can you like watch over me? There's another ghost in the house," and he just fucking his chair like to back of the chair is to the bed, facing the bathroom, and he's reading a book all night.
And
So creepy.
he had the seat to turn towards her, and she was like, "Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this." And then he turns around and goes, "There's your privacy."
Yeah, and he's just facing the bathroom.
We definitely did not talk about
No.
how he watches over her for the entire night.
And then I just gotta clarify that the innkeeper and Molly do wind up buying the inn, and that's why
Well, they also get together.
they get together and buy the inn. Which I think Molly has money. I forget what Molly does.
She's a bartender.
Oh, bartender.
Or
Yeah,
she
right.
owns the bar. She
owns the bar. Oh, yeah, okay. And that's why. So she got the bar, and that's why I was like, oh, maybe because that was said before the whole reincarnation thing. So I was like, oh, maybe like they'll let Kate come back once a year. That's why in my head I was like, oh, this is making sense. This is making sense.
Yeah, because Rafferty likes her too.
Yeah.
But he makes some line of like I mean, he says to Daniel when they're alone, like, "Oh yeah, you guys need each other," and then like he says to Kate, like, "I liked the way you work," or something like that, like you made a difference type of thing. And I was just kind of like, where does that come from? as you tell this ghost that you lived with for like however many years you've been this innkeeper, this ghost that you've seen for 12 days over I don't know 20-25 years, you're just like, you know what you should do? You should go after that girl. Oh man, I fucking hated that they just turned Kate, like they're sitting there with Kate and it's like, you can change him. He just fucking looks at her, Rafferty looks at her straight in the eyes and just goes, "Yeah, you can change him." And I'm like,
Yeah.
this fucking I can fix him trope is so crazy. It's a ghost, he's dead. You're not going to fix him. And she does anyway. I have a note, so I looked up this inn is a real inn.
Oh.
It is the Proctor Mansion Inn, and it's actually famous in Boston. Not for like a general reason, people just know it as like a place. There is a mystery behind it. It is not haunted. The mystery was that there's like this name named like Charles with like CBF or something like that, and it's carved into like a grave, not a gravestone, like in marble, and it doesn't mean anything because no person named Charles ever worked on the inn or owned it. So it's like a signature of some sort.
Interesting.
So that's just the mystery. It's a 45-minute drive from Boston to get to the Proctor Mansion, in a town called Wrentham, Massachusetts. So the fact that the boss was getting on her and being like, "You're wasting all this time," she was 45 minutes away. It wasn't like it was like a 2-hour drive.
Yeah. So I was like saying about like skiing and all that. Like, what if it was just in Boston? What?
Yeah, they were setting it up to be like it was in the countryside.
Yeah, right. That's what I thought, at least.
Yeah, no, it was also still in Boston, and also saying like, "Oh, it's a small town," which it might be, because Boston has a bunch of those like mill town type places that are still have like that small town mentality. Everybody was friendly. That was very strange and accepting. Would have loved to see more like contempt of like this lawyer girl trying to change things. Her too, of being like standoffish because herself was like a workaholic and like trying to get things done. And for Daniel, I'd say, yeah, it needs to be like way more standoffish and like not talking at all. The fact that he spoke right away was really off-putting.
Yeah, the thing is that's how he's portrayed, and then like the next scene, she's like full conversation after like kicking her out and like locking her out. He goes to just like full conversation, like everything is fine. Well, not like right away. Yeah, it's like a very steep, graduation, or what's the word I'm looking for? Right, steep
Yeah, like
something.
he goes from like talking a few words to talking full sentences to her.
Yeah, like in very very short time.
Yeah, and then there's like flirting with like
Yeah.
he says in when I forgot where it was in the movie. It was still pretty early. He goes, "Does your husband mind that you stay here?" And she goes, "I don't have a husband." And then I think that triggered the line of like do you that line of like, do you believe in love? And she was like, yeah, it's just never happened to me yet, type thing. So do you have any extra notes about anything?
No, I think we hit every note that we could.
Yeah. So does she keep her job?
Yeah, that's another thing. I think she got the promotion because she sold the house.
Yeah. And oh no, okay. I was gonna say, and Rafferty says to somebody and a partner, and that partner was Molly.
Huh. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, he says, and I got it with a partner, which I don't know how, if a lawyer in the town of Boston can't afford the inn, I don't know how the owner of a bar and an innkeeper how they're gonna buy it over. But teach their own.
Yeah, that was a little weird. I didn't like that.
What do you think Daniel's gonna be like in real life?
What do you mean in real life? Like now,
now that he's a living person.
Oh, dude, like, well, one, he's fine with cheating. Like that's just on the table. Like,
yeah, you think so?
Yeah. No, I don't think they're good together. I think him being like constrained to the same inn for 4 years straight without sleeping made him not great in the head.
Fair point. Yeah, that's gonna be a hard adjustment to life.
Yeah, I can't find like a suitable review. It's just like a lot of people hyping on bad ending, like what is going on with their chemistry, like what's going on with like the dead wife who named the son after him, and then like just like laughed after, like was like, oh yeah, it's your choice, not that we just got reunited after 100 years and I love you still, but like, yeah, no, like you're free to choose whatever you want. But I like there's on at least Amazon, there's like over 2,000 5-star reviews, which again, this is not possible. Have 2,000 people enjoyed this movie?
Yeah, this got a 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb. I think that's the only rating that anybody's ever rated it on. So, oh, I'm sorry. Hang on. I'm looking at the other movie called The Spirit of Christmas, which was a 2013 movie. Yes, I can confirm that it's only rated on IMDb. I thought there was another place that rated it like a 2 out of 5, like a different, publication, a smaller publication that is on the others. Wasn't great.
No. Yeah. No. On Rotten Tomatoes, it's got a 62 audience score.
Cool. Falls in line with us.
Yep. Like, it has no right being that fucking high.
No, not at all. But people like to have their campy Christmas movies, I guess, and
but I'm all for like putting on like a cut copy. Oh, you go home for Christmas. Oh, this guy you met as your childhood, and they fall in love and have an issue and then fall back in love. Like that's a fine, like a little cheesy. This was She fell in love with a fucking 100-year-old ghost, and then he got fucking brought back to life, and that's the end of the movie.
But you know what? He was hot, and that matters.
Was he though?
He took his shirt off.
We just got some.
What'd you think of his hair?
His haircut for 2013 was whack. Or 2015? What was this movie? Yeah,
2015. Yeah.
Whack. Because he didn't have the beard for the haircut, because it was like a wispy little fucking sideburn and then like a strong fucking like chin stubble. It was weird.
I think he was like meant to be dreamy.
Yeah. And I think he was like pushed for time on the beard or some shit. Or like he was like in between fucking roles where like they wanted a clean shave, and he was like, oh, please no, I have to do this fucking Lifetime movie. Just one more week.
Did you find a good review or no? Okay.
No, I've like literally I'm on IMDb, Amazon reviews, all that. Like all the reviews are just like hyping on the bed ending from at least like the 1 to 3 star review.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point to bring up that like the child was never brought up again. He like doesn't know, like, because he makes references to things like when there was that one, I think it was when Molly first arrives, before Kate pulls her aside and she says, oh yeah, like the person who currently owned the inn who died at the start of the movie, he was like, oh yeah, I only knew her when she was a little child. So he like remembers all this stuff. He didn't want to look up and see what his son did, because his son, I guess, would still be alive if he, besides tragedy,
right? Like he would have, he would have like a bloodline like going still. Why wouldn't you want to? I don't know. It's just like a character flaw. I don't know what you would call it.
They didn't give a shit. They were like, oh, we're gonna make this thing, and then we're making this whole scenario for one purpose, and we're ignoring every other purpose that needs to like logistically come up because of it.
So Andy, you're saying, yep, it's true. I definitely have cancer.
Yes. Yes. Very Room vibes.
Can we, for the fucking first movie of the year, can we just do like a good bad movie? Can we do The Room? Like, can we do something? It's gonna be like our 30th fucking podcast.
Maybe. Do you like Neil Breen movies?
Oh yeah, okay. Maybe we'll do a Neil Breen movie. That'll get my spirits up. Only 2 more Hallmark movies, Andy.
You know, I wanted to do Clue really badly. I wanted to lead into the new year with Clue. It's rated too high.
Is it?
Yeah, and Clue I think would be like the perfect movie.
No, let's do it anyway. Like with these, fucking, it's getting like 5-star reviews, like left and right, but it's a dog shit movie.
And it's free on Amazon, I believe.
Ooh, that's a plus.
Yeah, you just yeah. Okay, we might need to break some barriers. I got a 7.3 on IMDb and a 68% on Rotten Tomatoes.
With an audience score, like the tomato meter.
Tomato meter. 86 audience score. All right, so let's get into our reviews. I think we covered this movie enough. I think we talked about everything that we're going to talk about. Good thing that we like didn't, like lean too much on last week's recording. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We really didn't. We really kept it focused on this movie because there was just so much shit in it that was like, what the fuck? Which, makes it easier, our job easier. Yep. At the sake of our mental health. So let's get into our rating section. Adam, what are you rating this movie?
What did I give last week? For Crazy.
You gave For Crazy a 1.4.
All right, if I'm giving For Crazy a 1.4, how do you feel about this? I think I would rather watch For Crazy. I'm going to give this like a 1.2.
Wow. Can I ask you how?
Because I have to, because I'm looking at the list right now. I would rather watch The Wrong Missy over this movie. I would not want to watch Jack and Jill over this movie. Right? That's where I'm trying to put it. Like, I'd rather watch Little Italy over this movie. You know what I mean? I'm trying to like find like weasel it in that way.
Mm. I want to go the other way. I think I would rather watch this movie than For Crazy, just because it was just so wild and strange, and For Crazy wasn't that, and the acting was better in this movie out of most of the performers, and none of them in For Crazy acted well. So I don't know. It's just like there was some campiness in For Crazy where it's like, oh, the rich girl who really wasn't a rich girl who was actually a farm girl needs to like not wear the high-heeled shoes, and that's her changing. Whereas this movie was just like, fuck everything we set up, getting rid of it and starting anew. And also the dead guy, he's alive now after 100 years.
That made me fucking livid.
And not knowing where the fuck that happened. Like there's no like reasoning for that. Just wild movie. So I give it a 2.5.
Damn.
And I stand by that.
So this movie to you is better than Little Italy?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of as crazy.
Damn.
All right. And nonsensical.
All right. But like right now, like I would watch Little Italy again, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, but there's stuff in Little Italy that will get us going where it's like people fighting with their hands, in the Italian style, the way, and like saying like, oh, what? Maron and shit like that. And I feel like this movie does the same in like a different way, pulls on like similar tropes to people. And that's what I respect about it. Whereas For Crazy didn't do that.
All right.
Getting real for a minute.
Yeah, to each their own in that sense.
I mean, regardless, when we look back at this list, we're going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with us,
Well, maybe we'll, in the fucking Netflops lore, we'll go in and fucking change a number or two. Like, what we might do, Andy, is like a second sub-series where we go back and watch a movie and see if our opinions still stand. Maybe,
Ooh.
Yeah, maybe that's what we can do.
That's for the Patreon.
Yeah, right? Or maybe we'll have like a Twitter poll or some shit, and we can like choose a movie that our viewers can poll or choose.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. All right. So, any last remarks on this movie?
No, I think we're gonna watch basically the same fucking movie next week anyway.
No, the one next week has Billy Ray Cyrus in it, so I doubt that's gonna happen. Or maybe 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, that might be at like our QB Halloween, our fucking closer.
Our QB Halloween to close out December and bring us into the new year.
Yeah, baby.
All right. Well, Adam, man, thank you for doing this with me. It was a really good episode. We talked a lot. Filled it a lot where we weren't like sitting around going like, what do we need to talk to next? Which I thought we were totally going to do with these movies.
I know, yeah.
It's something.
Like I said, I love fucking freeballing it. I took less notes than I have in pretty much any other movie because I just knew there was going to be memorable shit we're going to talk about.
And like, but shit's just been that crazy.
Yeah.
It's really just been that crazy.
All right. But we got to shout out Eric and our Twitter. Want to go ahead and do both?
Yep, so go follow Eric Van Dusen on everything. He made our wonderful theme song. He's a friend of the podcast. He's been on an episode. Go watch Unfriended if you haven't listened to that one. You can follow us on Twitter at NetFlopsPod on Twitter. You can follow me everywhere else at Andy Doherty. I write about sports, yada yada. Dallas Stars, New York Islanders. And for everybody listening to this, thank you guys for listening. Keep supporting us. We're getting close to getting some ads, some ad revenue. And we got a bunch of cool shit coming up in the future.
Yes, sir. Plenty of ideas. Always going.
All right, boys. I don't want to say boys. That was a super Ludwig moment. All right. So for everybody listening, thank you guys so much. We'll talk to you guys next week. Bye-bye.